It's time for us all to brush up on our Cheltenham knowledge, and I'm delighted to say John Duggan is with us. John, good afternoon to you. Good morning to you. How are you?
Ger and Owen, good morning from Cheltenham. The calm before the storm, lads. Calm before the storm.
When does the hat make its appearance?
I didn't bring it.
Right? It's like
I decided the hat is going to be a social thing, lads. I'm here for
work.
Hard work, tipping winners, and like there's too much luggage, and it's been so bad, the weather in Ireland recently, that it's been, you can't be wearing one of those hats of slashing rain. It's actually going to be good weather here this week.
Right.
4 millimeters of rain at the weekend, but it's apart from Wednesday, it's going to be pretty dry here. So, and temperatures will rise. So the ground's going to dry out, lads, and we're looking forward to a great week. 275,000 people here for the week, 70,000 a day. Gold Cup Day's been sold out since January. 2 years, as we know, since we've had a festival with crowds. So let's get it on.
I do think the crowds is going to have an impact on champions from the last season, this season. Like, we don't know. There's no obvious horses like Lebeck who you're like, oh, that if he goes off and he arrives, then away we go. But I definitely think it's going to have an impact afterwards. People will say, yeah, the horse got a little bit worked up in the parade ring, or the horse didn't respond well to the atmosphere, because last year there were these little bubbles of Irish jockeys cheering home every winner, and that was it. That was the only noise.
Complete silence last year. And when you think about the Stayers Hurdle on Thursday, Florine Porter won it last year, is the favourite again. And this horse is a little bit quirky, gets on his toes a bit, as does Classical Dream, who's won here at the festival before and has beaten Florine Porter at Christmas at Leopardstown. There are a couple of horses you think, how are they going to react to the preliminaries, going round the parade ring, the paddock, all the people cheering them on. And also John Bond, who's a great hope for England in the first one tomorrow in the Supreme Officers Hurdle. He gets a bit sweaty, so he gets on his toes. So how will he react? Well, a lot of these horses, the worry is that they get too het up, as it were. They waste their energy before the race gets into full go. But sometimes they can use that energy positively, just like a normal athlete would. And when we talk about crowds there, it will be just great tomorrow to see Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore win for a 15th time under rules, because Rachel, she had all those successes last year with no crowds. It'd be brilliant to see the roar that would go up if she won and if she's welcome back,
Yeah. You wanted to ask a little bit about the Ireland England stuff.
Yeah, well, the conversation around this festival, John, at the moment, obviously you would have been covering it in the day of a 3-day festival, and there's some suggestion that it became bloated by becoming a 4-day festival. And we'll get to the Irish stuff in just a moment, but this idea of a 5-day festival has been mentioned now for quite some time. What's the status of that, and what's the feeling on the ground there about how much that would kind of diminish the lore of this festival?
Well, the status of it is that it's not going to happen next year. But then it'll be under review after next year. So next year, 2023, will be a 4-day festival. When they think about a Gold Cup Day being sold out since January, 70,000 people, a lot of people coming down from London. Thursday is going to be very busy. They've expanded the capacity here in the last few years since they redeveloped the race course. And now it's become a bigger thing. Like, I go to London a lot, and I'll be on the tube at Christmas time and you see the ads for Cheltenham. It's become more than just a racing festival. It's become a really big social thing in the British sporting calendar. So you can understand why, like Royal Ascot, they would be keen to have a 5th day. Obviously, these things are always financial. It's worth a huge amount of money to the local economy, to the jockey club, and you can understand the financial reasons for that. From a competitive point of view, it's got the potential to dilute a race meeting that really probably should be 3 days in terms of its quality. Like tomorrow in the Supreme Novices Hurdle, which was always 20 runners, the massive roar, the going too fast over the first few hurdles, and it would be really just a cavalry charge. There's only I'm looking here, tomorrow there's 9 runners in it. There's only 7 runners in the amateur chase, the last race. The Thursday generally, since they brought the 4 days in, in 2005, has been a bit of a down day, but we kind of just get air into our lungs in every way before we go again on the Friday. But there is a danger with these things that you dilute the quality of what you're offering with adding more races.
And then on top of that, what you have is a situation where supposedly a lot of English trainers are looking at the challengers coming over from Ireland and saying, not for me, and focusing their devotion on Aintree.
Donald McCain, a classic example of that. He's trained 133 winners in the UK this season, more than any other trainer. He has got possibly 1 horse running at Cheltenham this week, and he's saving his firepower for Aintree, because they know they just can't compete at the moment. If you're looking at the prestigious races, the Champion Hurdle tomorrow, Honeysuckle odds on favourites, the Champion Chase. Now, there is an English trained favourite for that, Juggen. for Nicky Henderson. But we have an Ergum Chak and Persois put the kettle on last year's winner for Ireland. Then on Thursday, all the top horses are Irish trained, Flooring Porter, Classical Dream. And then on the Gold Cup day, there's only one English horse with a chance, Protectorat. Otherwise, it'll be an Irish winner. So of the 95 runners tomorrow, lads, 49 of them are trained in Ireland, more than half.
Yeah, look, the English-Irish thing, obviously, there's a popular campaign running at the moment that kind of repeatedly points out England don't really care about that. And it actually doesn't seem to matter that much, the England-Ireland thing. We get jingoistic about it. I just think it's a bit of crack. But actually, it's far more interesting this week not to chase patriotic money, but to follow the good tips. That's the advice is don't be just backing something because it's Irish.
No, just back to something you think is the best chance in the race. Like John Bond, for example, tomorrow is a full brother to Duggan, trained by Nicky Henderson, who's a great festival record, owned by Jimmy McManus, is English trained in inverted commas. Shishkin came from the Irish Point Field, is trained by Nicky Henderson in England. But I do think we're going to have a very good festival again for Irish trained horses. It was 23 winners last year out of 28. I don't think it'll be as high as that, but we'll definitely have more than the UK-based trainers. But the Irish-English thing, I think, I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. Now, it was a really significant thing. Like, I remember in 1986, I was 7 years of age, watched Dawn Run win the Gold Cup. It was the front story on the 6 o'clock news, the news story, that Dawn Run, this horse, won at Cheltenham. And back then, there was very little for Irish to cheer about in the global sporting stage, maybe John Tracy or Eamon Coughlin or a couple of Triple Crowns before the soccer team became something. You know, with a lot of people emigrating from Ireland in the 80s especially, who didn't want to. They moved to England, they worked here, and it was a sense of pride if, you know, Ireland were winning at Cheltenham. And that even goes back to the 1940s and Vincent O'Brien. When I came here first 20 years ago, I really felt like, even as a person, intimidated. There was real underdog sense around the place. And if you have a few Irish winners, it would be a real thing that you'd be feeling proud about. But Ireland has conquered Cheltenham. I've seen the whole change of it back from the 2005 when we had 9 winners, which was the best, I think, since probably 1958 or something like that. And then it went to stage in 2013 where we had more winners than the English, and to last year where we had 23 winners. So Ireland has conquered Cheltenham as opposed to being competitive. And it's a very strange feeling. But the Irish-English thing these days is not something that we need to prove anymore.
The spectre of COVID obviously hangs over crowds at Cheltenham and that conversation around it. I presume there's going to be a much different vibe as you know, things seem to have opened up quite significantly.
Absolutely. I think the gap year helped. I think if there was a festival last year with some semblance of crowds, it would have been possibly controversial. We know, having covered a couple of years ago, that I think the general consensus looking back is that the festival shouldn't have gone ahead. But I don't remember a phrase book or a handbook or a guide for a 100-year pandemic that nobody lived through. So I think a lot of decisions were being made in England that were obviously seen to be wrong. You know, I remember the atmosphere completely changing within a matter of days. Leo Varadkar made the announcement on the Thursday, and it was just a case of the Friday, this thing shouldn't have been happening. And obviously, you know, there was pub landlords around here, the people who I stay with for a long time, like passed away from COVID and everything, and it was just a very worrying time for everybody concerned. So, look, it shouldn't have gone ahead. We know that now. Last year it was behind closed doors. Unfortunately, with the world at the moment, Ukraine is dominating everything, and it's sometimes kind of hard to feel like should you be enjoying yourself with what's going on in Ukraine. Tomorrow, the National Hunt Chase, the amateur chase, it's for the British Red Cross. The Ukraine appeal. People will be invited to donate here at the course this week, and life moves on in a way that is not necessarily great with what's going on in the world at the moment. But COVID, I think, is in the rear-view mirror at the moment here. Okay,
tell us 5 quick races to watch out for and why. The Champion Hurdle, obviously, on Tuesday. Everybody's keeping an eye on that one.
Yeah, tomorrow it's 3:30. Honeysuckle, she's won 14 times out of 14. As I said, she's odds on in the betting. She's got everything, really. She has a turn of foot. She's got a pace to burn. She showed that around the bend last year. She can also stay because she won the Mares Hurdle here over a further distance. Her last run at Leopardstown was a little bit workmanlike, or whatever the phrase is, because she wasn't brilliant from the last to the line. But the yard hasn't been in the best of form this year. If you picked a year for something to happen to you, Henry de Bromhead had the most magical year last year. He did the trifecta. So he had the Champion Hurdle, Champion Chase, and Gold Cup winners. Then he had the first 2 in the Aintree Grand National. Like, it was a full house, royal flush. He couldn't do any better than that. The only one I think that can put it up to Honeysuckle tomorrow, and I really hope she wins for the image of the sport and for Rachel Blackmore to go back to back, is Appreciated, who won by 24 lengths in the novice hurdle last year, the Supreme Novices Hurdle, and hasn't been seen since. Trained by Willie Mullins. But I wouldn't be too worried about that, because Willie Mullins wouldn't send the horse here if he didn't think the horse was right. And also, he sent out Quevega 5 times to win on her seasonal appearance at the Cheltenham Festival. So Appreciated is in that. And there's a few 5-year-olds. Only one 5-year-old has won the champion hurdle since 1985. So that would be against the chances of Tihopu and Zana here. But it's all about Honeysuckle. If she performs to her best, she should win.
Wednesday's Champion Chase and Bumper Day.
Yeah, so we have Willie Mullins training 78 winners at Cheltenham, but never the Champion Chase. He's got to beat Juggen with one of his 2 horses, Energumen, who we know jumps very well, and Jacques Persois. The one question I would have is, Energumen and Juggen, a lot of us saw that race at Ascot. It was deep ground. It was a tough race. Would it take a bit out of the pair? And that's one thing I'd have to say. Juggen can also hit a fence, but he's got a turn of foot that is really, really impressive. And he's also won here twice at the festival. Jacques Persois has been a brilliant horse in Ireland, but has never seemed to deliver away from home. Was poor at Sandown earlier this season, was only 3rd in this race last year. They might try and use his jumping to get an advantage, but at the moment he's got things to prove. So Juggen, and Energumen, Jacques Persois, I'd be surprised if one of the 3 doesn't win it. The Bumper was brought in here in 1992 because they wanted to give Ireland something, because we had no winners at the festival back in 1989, and it's become it's all about what I'm about with racing, the phone calls, the kind of the whispers, what's the potential of this thing? It's a 2-mile flat race, as we know, no hurdles or fences we jumped. Facile Vega is a son of Quevega and has been exceptional at Leopardstown. But Redemption Day is Stablemate, also won very easily the last time. And American Mike from the Gordon Elliott yard. Gordon's obviously back in the festival this year and looking to have a good week with Tiger Roll also on Wednesday. American Mike hasn't run since Christmas at Navan, but is also a very well-touted horse. So that's the Bumper on Wednesday.
Okay, and the Stairs Hurdle on Thursday is the big race today?
Yeah, that's the 3-mile championship for hurdlers. I think this is open, Jaron Owen. Like, you got Flooring Porter, as we mentioned there, owned by lads who are involved in the carpet shop and a pub out west. Great story. Gavin Cromwell trains that, but can be a bit buzzy. Classical Dream, Champ, who used to be a chaser. Time Hill is a consistent horse. Royal Kahala, trained by Peter Fahey and Monaster Revan, who likes probably softer ground that he's going to get here. It's wide open, I think, that one. I don't think I've ever backed the winner of that race. I don't like that race.
The Gold Cup?
The Gold Cup, look, it's going to be an Irish winner, I think. Galvin is an improver for Gordon Elliott. Will stay the trip. Won a longer distance race last year, beat a Plutarch at Christmas. Plutarch, I think, is the class horse in the race. Will he get the trip under Rachel Blackmore? That's the thing. And Manila Indo is coming back into form. Ran poorly at Kempton at Christmas. But Manila Indo is the defending champion. He'll definitely be one to have on the right side, I think, as will Alboom Photo. A 10-year-old, though, hasn't won the Gold Cup in 24 years. And Alboom Photo is rising 10 now. Has only run once, rather, in Tremor since he last ran in the Gold Cup. So maybe ages against him. So Galvin, a Plutarch, Manila Indo, probably the top 3. I wouldn't be surprised if the winner comes from them.
Let's get some Willie Mullins here. You've been talking to him. This is specifically about Tuesday's race, and have a look.
Allaho, is it just a case of just keeping it simple and doing what you did last year?
I hope so. He looks like, I think he's probably a banker in a lot of people's minds. When you take it that, people probably go to Cheltenham with 2 or 3 bankers, maybe, and they don't always win. So, you've got Honeysuckle, Allaho, and maybe the horse in the Bumper, so maybe 2 out of 3 usually get beaten. The week before Cheltenham, we all think this can't get beat, that can't get beat, but they do get beat, and that's why you have bookmakers, and hopefully he can repeat the dose this year.
Is he your best chance, in your view?
I imagine himself and Facile Vega must rate our best chances, yeah.
Where does Willie Mullins rank in the hat game, John?
Better than me.
Right. Who is known to be like the most capable of rocking a hat in terms of? I
think Willie Mullins. He's got the brown hat. He's able to carry it off very, very well.
Okay.
The hat I think I bought, which I actually bought here, I bought it for about $20. I think it's a bit too big for me. So look, I might buy another one. I might buy Jaron Owen. Actually, I'll buy if I've got a good week, right? I've got a load of sterling in my pocket. If I've got a good week here, I'll buy the pair of hats and you can wear them for the entry of the Punchestown preview.
Not a hat guy. You need to know when you're not a hat guy. That's rule number one of.
Jerry, are you a hat guy?
Maybe you've just never had. I'm a beanie hat. Yeah.
Who are the other runners and riders then behind Willie Mullins for like being the top hat wearers at Cheltenham?
Top hat wearers. Nicky Henderson wears a good hat, generally a brown hat.
Okay.
Don't remember Gordon Elliott wearing a hat.
No.
Or
Rich Ritchie, was he wearing a hat? Is he a hat man?
Well, Rich Ritchie, yeah, like he's got the sunglasses as well on the hat. So now I'm not a sunglasses man. I can't carry off sunglasses at all. I don't know about you, Owen, when you're on your American trips or Jer. But
you can do sunglasses, not hats. Big difference. And I was just going to ask then, in terms of what happens. Like, I mean, you're going to deliver us with fantastic tips all week. We're going to make a lot of money thanks to you, John Duggan. How will you be enjoying the fruits of your labour on a nightly basis in Cheltenham?
I'll be literally studying form and getting, like Homer Simpson's accountant, into a degree of edge around the fact that I haven't been tipping enough winners than I should have. I will celebrate Cheltenham when I get back home.
Right.
Is the way I'm kind of thinking about it, and like it is something that I've always missed out on. But like these are the decisions you make, because you know, if you're in the firing line of people's opinions, you have to try and just try and really get to the bottom of the form book. As boring as it sounds, and it really is boring, because there is a great nightlife here. People have a great time. Some of the hostelries here around here are beautiful. And you know, if you're an ale drinker like I am, you know, it's Bob's your uncle. You know. Are
you kind of like Jose Mourinho peering through the curtain at 9 o'clock every single night, thinking, "God, I wish I was out there"?
Well, I thought Wenger was a voyeur, but rather than Jose Mourinho. No, it really is. There's so much opinion. There's so many things I've subscribed to, lads. The one thing I would advise folks is, don't get bogged down in the preview night circuit and the chat about these things this kind of thing being a certainty. Don't bet when you drink. Obviously, bet within your means, and get everything done in the morning, because I think your own opinion is the best opinion. Like, it is called jumps racing for a reason, and I do think you need to be on with good jumpers. You need to be able to be horses with that jump. Cheltenham is quite a tight track. They're always turning and twisting, and you got to be able to have a horse that travels well, that jumps well. The ground will dry out here, which horses appreciate better ground, and horses so many times come back and show their best form at this track, because the track is so unique, and the festival form from previous years is definitely worth counting. But I'm going to bore you. Like, I'm sure we'll have a night out to celebrate Ryan Brem's win shortly in Dublin. But no, there'll be no John Duggan or Don Juggen behaviour or Doug Joggen behaviour this week.
Don Juggen, I mean, I am Matthew Fitzpatrick, Patrick Cantley, Brooks Koepka, Emiliano Grillo. Those 5 names are on the list now, and as well as Don Juggen on the list of people that
well, they're probably in the lake. They've been in the lake so many times with their shots in the Players' Championship 17th hole the last few days. Who's going to win that? I don't know. But yeah, look, I just hope we've got to have a good week, and that people enjoy themselves, and we have a few good winners, Irish winners, and some good storylines. I think one of the things that was clouded by last year, lads, was the amount of small trainers that winners. Remember, you had Heaven Help Us, you had Paul Hennessy on Friday Night Racing just before he won a 33-1 shot at Cheltenham. Peter Fahey, the winner, Belfast Banter, and you'd hope there's some more of those stories flowing Porter this year,
100%.
As apart from the big names and the big yards and the big owners.
All right, we'll let you go today, John, but thanks very much for that. John's been with us every morning
yourselves
from 9 to 9:30 throughout Cheltenham here on OTB AM, and of course you'll be able to read his stuff on otbsports.com. A reminder, OTB AM is brought to you live each morning by Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day.